What's up guys, Starlink here. Now with all the commotion surrounding E3 finally subsiding, I wanted to talk about a few indie titles that caught my eye that were also announced during E3 that might have been kinda swept under the rug a bit considering all the bigger announcements that were made. So I just wanted to take a moment of your time to talk about 3 titles that caught my eye. Let's take a look. First up is Baldo, developed by Nap's team. This game was announced just prior to E3 with a special reveal trailer by IGN. Set in the land of Radia, a magical land full of mysteries to discover, you seem to be part of a prophecy that comes to light involving the Pure Child. The no-heart creature sealed in the underworld by the Wise Owls is about to rise again. It's an action-adventure RPG full of dungeons and temples to explore, as well as plenty of puzzles to solve. You have an open-world map to traverse with many towns to discover and side quests to complete. There are plenty of weapons and items to collect to solve said puzzles as well. So this sounds very much like a Zelda game with Studio Ghibli-style visuals, which seems to be popping up quite a bit lately. I don't consider that a bad thing, however, as the game looks beautiful, and any game that plays similar to a Zelda title is always a positive in my book. The cel-shaded art style looks great too. I was hoping to hear a little more of this at E3, as it doesn't even have a release date yet. Sadly, not much else is known about the game other than a brief description and that it's releasing on all consoles and PC. Regardless, Baldo looks promising and I'll be keeping a close eye on it. Next up is Secona of Rice and Ruin, developed by Edelweiss and published by Exceed Games. This game is a mixture of both farming simulator and side-scroller action. Players take on the role of Secona, a proud yet lonely harvest goddess who is banished to a dangerous island with a group of outcast humans. As she tames the island by defeating demons in gorgeous, mysterious natural settings, she will also find a home in a mountain village, proving herself worthy of her title by harvesting rice and bettering the lives of humans. Now, I haven't really delved into any farming simulator-based games much, but this one intrigues me with its mix of side-scroller action. It looks fun and might even get me into the massive popularity of other farming sims like Stardew Valley, for example. We'll see. I find it interesting that the farming sim elements take place in a 3D space, whereas the side-scroller actions are in more of a 2.5D setting. And not only does this game stand as a love letter to Japanese mythology, it's also a nod to the artistry of cultivating rice as well, which is pretty neat. Secona of Rice and Ruin releases in the winter of this year on PS4, Switch, and PC. Last up is Cris Tales by Dreams Uncorporated and Modius Games. This one is my most anticipated game on this list, probably because I actually had a chance to play the demo. You play as Crispell, a newly awakened time mage with the ability to peer into both the future and the past. Crispell will travel across the world of Crystallis, battling the Time Empress and rewriting history of those around her. You will come across many companions who will aid you in your journey and the difficult decisions you have to make along the way. They give you a taste of these choices in the demo actually. After acquiring a special concoction, you're given a choice on whose house you want to save in the present to restore it in the future, whereas the other is left to rot away. The side effect of your actions is left unclear, as the demo doesn't go far enough along to discover the outcome yet, but it's an interesting story element regardless. Doing this event also gives you a chance to experience this game's main feature, time jumping. At any time you can send Mattias the Frog either into the past or future to manipulate time, like planting a seedling in the present while having him jump into the future to collect its spoils. The interesting thing about this is that it all happens on the same screen. There's a split screen effect showing you the windows into the past, present, and future. Now I'll admit, at first I was kinda skeptical on how this would all play out, but it's pretty cool actually, and this game's standout feature. The combat in this game is similar to games like Mario RPG, whereas you can do more powerful attack or defend for more damage depending on the timing of pressing the action button. The unique element here is that your time mage abilities come into full effect within combat as well. You can send a grunt soldier into the future, making him weaker to physical attacks, but in the process they become older and wiser, making them more potent with magic. The same thing can be done in boss battles as well, like casting water magic on a shielded enemy in the present, only to send them into the future to have the shield become rusty and leave them vulnerable. It's a pretty neat mechanic. The 2D hand-drawn artwork looks great, giving off that cartoon look, and the music fits the theme well. It also seems that the entire game is voice acted and the lines are delivered very well, from what I heard in the demo anyway. So far, I'm really impressed with Cris Tales and I'm looking forward to its release sometime next year. This game is a day one purchase for me for sure. Overall, these are just 3 indie titles that caught my eye during E3, and I'm interested in hearing more about them coming closer to release. How good will the outcome be? Only time will tell, honestly. So there was a lot of exciting announcements made this year at E3. Now granted, most of them came from Square Enix and Nintendo, but overall, I thought this year's E3 was better than last year's, personally. One of the things I got the most excited about was when I was watching the Direct and they mentioned that the Collection of Mana was releasing the same day. I mean, I literally jumped for joy. I went up and got my Switch, went on the eShop, and I bought the game instantly, no questions asked. I mean, as you know, the highlight of that whole collection is the fact that we have an official translation of Secret of Mana 3, now known as Trials of Mana, and that's fantastic. I've been playing a bit of that game already. Really great game. It is definitely a highlight of the collection. But speaking of Trials of Mana, not only did we get the Collection of Mana, an official translation, but we're actually getting a remake of the game as well, which is fantastic. It's crazy. Now shortly after hearing about this, it sparked just a bit of hope in me. Just a little bit that Square Enix might take the same approach with the Star Ocean series. Because as you may already be aware, shortly about 2 weeks before E3 started, Square Enix announced that Star Ocean: The First Departure was making its way to the PS4 and the Switch. Now we didn't hear anything more about this, but I'm hopeful that when and if Square Enix gets around to Star Ocean: The Second Story, that they'll also take the time to finally translate Star Ocean: Blue Sphere. Because as many fans know, that game, unlike Trials of Mana, never even saw a fan translation. So this would be amazing news that would blow everybody's mind. Now I know it's throwing the ball way out there, but there is an inkling of hope that knowing that Square Enix is finally showing some love to the Mana series, that they might do the same with the Star Ocean series. But anyways, that's just my 2 cents on the matter. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like, or a dislike if you didn't. And do you have any moments or highlights of E3 that you want to talk about? Make sure to drop a comment down below. And as always guys, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Reach for the stars, guys.